Fashion isn't only a woman's game. In fact, menswear collections are often just as innovative and eye-catching as women's wear, especially when they provide a way of interrogating and exploring the times we live in. So here it is, a selection of the most impressive menswear offerings for next winter.
I feel that fashion is going to get much more interesting because of the kind of political kind of climate in the world. You know, for some reason when there's kind of a right-wing mood, people tend to, the creatives, they start to grow through the cracks. The flowers start to bloom. So I think in terms of creativity, this is going to be a very interesting time.
At Dior Homme, jumpers are worn on top of suits. It's all about carefully controlled punk details and hints at rebellion.
That's kind of how I saw this collection, that you have this suiting, but then there's and I love that, it really spoke to me.
You've always done this, you played with fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what, I think probably in some ways staying outside of fashion keeps you in fashion.
Designer Chris Van Asher's clothes are inspired by the hyper-realist work of American street artist Dan Witts. It's by turns kinetic, chaotic and sensual.
I keep hearing that suits are over, that no one wants to wear a suit anymore. Well, I think that we haven't yet proposed the right kind of suit. I think we need to adapt to what young people want. It needs to be more street. We need more youthful tailoring. Tailoring has been, is, and will remain at the centre of Dior Homme.
At Balmain, it's back to the 80s, and music is taking centre stage. Specifically the song Still Loving You by German hard rock group The Scorpions. There's aggression there, but also a certain romanticism.
My collection really represents flamboyance. It's strong, it's rich, but there are also some quite calm looks. It's a bit of a contrast between minimalism and high octane, between levity and violence. That's what I like, that's the music I like, those heavy ballads.
During his menswear presentation, Olivier Roustin also showcased elements of his womenswear offering. The young designer wants to show that just as women often wear men's clothes, men can choose to pick up pieces initially designed for women.
Prince, David Bowie, George Michael, they were men who showed you that you could maintain that extremely virile side while also embracing feminine style codes. Fashion was a big part of how women's roles evolved, but also how men's roles evolved. And that's what I'm showing here today, that really there's no fundamental difference between men and women's clothes. Everything's mixed, switched up. That's the power of fashion, and also the power of the sexes.
It's really dazzling.
All those codes, those taboos, those barriers that exist in the world, it's important to remember that fashion can sometimes become political. It's about much more than just fabric.
And when political messages aren't getting through as loudly as some may hope, there's always another approach, using clothes as billboards. Take, for example, Chinese label Sankuanz.
This collection is first and foremost about politics and how today chemical-producing industries affect people's lives.
You are a fighter, in fact. You are a fashion designer, but a kind of fashion fighter.
I don't think of myself as a fighter. I just tell stories as they are, the history that's being made as we speak.
To celebrate its 50th birthday, the House of Cerruti has chosen to change precisely nothing. There is, after all, immense joy to be had in clinging on to what you love, in life and in fashion.
The things I was wearing in the 80s and 90s, voluminous, elegant clothes made from beautiful fabrics, well, it's not quite what today's fashionistas in the Far East would choose to wear. It's more European, very urban, while still being very chic. It's about lovely material, real simplicity.
And then there are the big names, the designers who, through their work, tell us something about the world we live in. Designers whose creativity and audacity delight clients time and time again.
It was really taking my classic idea of clothing and playing with proportion, which is what I did from the beginning. And then also, too, just taking the idea of just well-made clothing and showing it deconstructed and just worn differently on the body.
For Thom Browne, it's about stripping the creative process down to its primary elements.
Yeah, I think that's our job as designers, is to show people, I guess, what we do in different ways, but also to make people think about what we do and make them think about things differently, and not just show them exactly what they've already seen or what they can specifically wear, but just show classic ideas in a way that makes them think about them differently.
Whether it's a jacket or a shirt, a pair of trousers or a tie, fashion can provide men with the tools to reinvent themselves.